Thank you.
Season 14.
Yeah.
Do you and Jared have a conversation each season where you're like, do we want to do this again? Can we do this again? Or is it just sort of like, until someone tells you to stop, you keep going?
Right. It's like, do we need to create a safe word? There have been those conversations. And they were never conversations that we thought we would ever need to have or get to have. But when you have an audience that we have, and you have a network that supports you the way that ours does, and you have a studio that supports you the way that ours does, you kind of look around you and you're like, wow, this is a fast-moving train that doesn't seem to have a stop ahead of it. So we do have those conversations, and to date, there has never been an end to that conversation that has finality in it, because I think we do still truly enjoy doing the show. It's not mundane. It's not repetitive. It's not boring to us at all. We still enjoy telling these stories. We still think the writing that our writers are producing are on par, if not better, than what we've been doing for the last 13 years. And as long as that continues, and as long as we still feel like it's fresh and we're energized to show up on set every day, then I don't know why we would curb that.
Does it re-energize you when there are twists like Dean being possessed by Archangel Michael, and you're essentially playing a completely different character now when you start the new season?
Yeah, 100%. In fact, it's been almost a daunting challenge. Jared's had an opportunity to play different characters, and he's gotten to play an angel. He's gotten to play Lucifer. He's gotten to play, which is also an angel. He's gotten to play these different characters, and not just different variations of Sam Winchester. Whereas Dean has only played different variations of Dean, and so this was. And I hadn't thought about that until the script came down the pipe, where it was Michael was going to take possession of Dean's vessel, and then I realized that this was uncharted territories, which I didn't realize that we had any of those left after 13 years. But here we are, starting season 14. I'm playing a different character within the same show that I've been playing for the past 13 years. And I was a little nervous, and I wasn't quite sure the direction that I wanted to take this particular character, even though it has a little bit of backstory. So I talked to Andrew, our showrunner, and got a little insight, and he basically was like, "You're fine, do your thing." And so I did, and we're finishing up the first episode, and the feedback has been good. It's been like, hey, let's do a little bit more of this, and it's been more feedback than I've gotten in the last 13 years. So whatever I've been doing as Dean hasn't needed much coaching apparently, but whatever I'm doing as Michael is needed a little bit more molding, which is great, because for me it's like this new project within the project that I've already been a part of for so long.
Can you tease how long you will be playing this new character?
The character stays around longer than the audience will assume. Let's put it that way.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Not just the character, not like saying, oh, the character's going to jump vessels or something like that, but the character, me playing the character, will stick around longer than I think people are anticipating.
Fans want to know if Sam is going to save Dean, and is he going to make a valiant effort?
Yes. I think Sam takes a bit more of a leadership role in getting the group together to find and help and save Dean. So that's kind of a bit of a role reversal for him, as he's really taking on the leadership role of getting everybody together, whereas Sam usually is kind of like, let me do my thing, I'm going to go off this way, and I'm going to figure this out. Mm-hmm. And Dean is a little bit more of like let's get the cavalry together and go fight these people. Sam is certainly kind of jumping into that role and having to dive in head first in leading the charge to find Michael and save his brother. And so you're going to see that right out of the gate.
Are you going to direct this season?
I'm not lined up to direct this season as of yet. I won't say no just yet, because there's a few slots left, and even though it's logistically difficult to have me direct during the season, it's not impossible. So we'll see. The ship hasn't sailed yet.
So you're doing 20 episodes this season instead of 23, which you've been doing for a while now.
Yeah.
What is there a story behind the shaved off 3 episodes?
Well, we originally started with 22, which is pretty much industry standard. If those of you can remember, way back when the writers went on strike, we lost, I think it was 6 episodes that season, and I believe in an effort to recoup that lost content, we would add an episode onto the season. Adding 6 onto a season would have been just murderous. That's just too long of a season. And so we added one on the following season, and then the following season, and that just kind of came. They were like, listen, if you guys can create that much content in one season, then we're going to sell it. So we kind of got stuck with the 23 format, and I think that was when, going back to what we were talking about earlier, when Jared and I sit down and we talk about, do we want to do this? Do we want to continue doing this? It's not about the things that it's usually about. I think when these kind of conversations come up, it's like, oh, I want more money, or I want a bigger trailer, or I want this or that. The conversation is quality of life. We both have families. It's a little bit more of how can we make our work-life balance a little better. And shaving a couple episodes off gives us a lot more time. It gives us almost an extra month out of our year, which when you only get about 2.5 month hiatus, that goes by really quickly. And who knows, if it's like all of a sudden we don't feel like we've run a marathon by the end of the season, we're actually still pretty energized, then it's like, hey, I could do this for another several years. This is, I think we just found the pocket here. It's still giving, the network and the studio enough content to do what they need to do. But I think it's just pulling it back just a little bit to give us a little reprieve.
Seems fair.
I think so.
I am sitting here with Jensen Ackles, who needs really no introduction because Supernatural 13 seasons?
Well, if you don't know of it, then
you
don't start now.
Yeah, because there's a lot of
way
catching
too
up to
far
do.
behind.
Yeah, binge watching that would take almost 2 or 3 years.
Though I've met some that have done it in a few months, and I'm just like,
God bless
wow,
them.
did you lose a bet?
Yeah, and what are they like at the end of that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
their eyes are taped open. So
when you auditioned for this role, did you ever imagine that over a decade would pass? I mean, an entire lifetime for you has gone on.
no,
Yeah.
no. I don't think any actor really thinks that any job is going to go longer than the industry standard,
Right.
which is, a couple of months for a movie and maybe a couple of years for a TV show if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're moving into a good solid 14 years now. It's hard to think about. I mean, I look at pictures when we first started, and it's like a yearbook.
Do you ever watch the early episodes?
Sure.
What do you think?
In fact, I recently went back and I watched the pilot episode, the very
Okay.
first episode of Supernatural, and I'm not just saying this, it still holds up.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
a
it
scary,
does.
scary hour.
I think it was just a well-crafted, a well-written show.
Yeah.
And kudos to Eric Kripke and David Nutter who put those things together. But they certainly built a platform for us to do what we've done for 13 seasons. So.
After all this time, I have to say, like, we've seen so many shows, so many casts. You and Jared just continually maintain some level-headed, just good-natured. You're so good with the fans. You're so good with the press. Like, what is going on there? Like, what's in the craft services that is keeping you guys so normal?
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah, no, it's good Canadian food. We shoot up in Vancouver, and I don't know. That may have had a little something to do with it. Is that we kind of got plucked out of, the whole machine of Los Angeles and the entertainment industry, fairly young,
Right.
and we got put on a set and kind of just kept our heads down and kept working hard, not thinking that it would go this long. and I don't think we would have changed the way we did things had we known it was going to go this long. I think that's just kind of in our nature, and I think that maybe that kind of distracted us from maybe getting involved in all of those shiny things that Los Angeles and the entertainment industry have to offer.
Well, it's so refreshing because you two, like, we know you as brothers on screen, and your behavior in real life just seems like you guys could possibly be, there should be a blood test.
Yeah, I honestly think that there was a separation at birth,
Yeah.
and that maybe we should look into that. What is it? The 23andMe.
Yeah, 23andMe.
Somebody's
so
got
Ancestry.com
somebody needs to
check this
contact
out.
us
Yeah.
and do some digging here.
All right, so I know you can't tell us anything about the new season.
I mean, I'll tell you what you want to know. I don't care.
All right, what are we coming back with?
What are they going to fire me? Please don't fire me. It would be really sad to go out 14 years in
For this interview.
Please don't. I beg you.
What can you tell us?
I will say that we pick up not exactly where we left off. Some time has passed, and that time that has passed will certainly come into play as the season unfolds.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you some fishbowl questions.
Done.
This is great. Choose a song to describe your show or character.
Wherever I May Roam, Metallica.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Good for you not going with the obvious. Would you survive a zombie apocalypse?
I would now.
Exactly. After all this time, you better.
Oh, I mean,
You should
at
be
least
teaching classes.
At least it's given me a false sense of security being on the show for so long. I'd be like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
And then I'd die instantly.
And you know what? You'd get Canadian zombies, and they'd be really polite anyway.
They would.
Yeah.
They'd be like, excuse me,
Yeah.
I'd like to eat your brains.
Do you mind?
Yeah.
What show are you currently binging?
Narcos.
Oh, nice. All right. And who was the last person you texted?
Jared.
Nice. And was it a happy birthday?
No, it was, hey, enjoy your time off,
Something else.
asshole.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing these interviews solo.
Nice. All right. Give us one thing that you want to say to the fans that will just drive them crazy.
I was sad about certain things that happened at the end of last season because I thought that it was closing a chapter in certain things. Not so fast.
There you have it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
Really quickly, I hadn't seen that scene yet, and that was my first time to see it, and I kind of got chills. I was like, way to go, Apples.
It's also just really cold backstage, so.
And he's never seen the flu, but the point is,
This is a request from Jensen, not me, but he thought that again, his words, not mine, but he thought that the 300th episode should be called the 300 and we're wearing togas.
Clip show. I said clip show.
Do you remember when?
By the way, Alex, short and sweet. I mean, I think it's brotherhood at the end of it. It's you guys, me, brothers, and family.
Yeah, I think when you've been doing something a show for this long, it really all kind of circulates and pivots around one central character, and I think that from the beginning till probably the end, it's always going to be about that one particular character, and that is the car.
And the brothers that ride inside of it. It's a great question, and a question I thought of myself, or I've tried to figure out the answer. I think there are many facets to why we're still going. Number one is y'all. And that's not lip service. It's sharing the place of number one is we have a really supportive networking studio who let us play and let us play. These guys over here, Eugene and Brad, are the ones that really create the show and run the show. And then Misha and I and Alex and Jensen and the rest of the cast, we kind of get to play within it. But it feels like both in Vancouver and probably in Los Angeles as well, the relationships amongst the people creating the show are legit. Like I care about the people I work with. He cares about the people he works with. Same. And so I feel like there's a legitimate sense of family. You know, both our SPN family and our behind the scenes family. And Supernatural's been lucky, and y'all have been so supportive. And we haven't been forced to, maybe because we've been around for so long, we haven't been forced to have some sort of like contrived romantic relationship every episode where it's like, oh, does he love me? Does she love me? Do I love? It's just, we get to tell stories, the classic archetypal stories that mean something to everybody. They don't, I mean, in this weird, bizarre, ironic way, we're telling stories about demons and ghosts and Lucifer that everybody can relate to. It's kind of weird, right? It's super strange, but it's certainly helped me. And I think we should have a neat base, hyper talented writing staff, and actors that the audience forgive. So, yeah.
It's Misha this year.
Jared and I kind of have a beer challenge every hiatus. I actually pitched to the producers. I was like, hey, what if Dean comes back and Michael has grown a beard? Michael, in last season, played by Christian, had a beard. It wasn't possible due to certain details that I can't necessarily give away. So then I took that idea and I gave it to him.
I read the episode and realized that a little bit of time has passed. It sort of made sense that Sam had better things to do than to wake up in the morning and, tweeze his eyebrows and shave, that he was just too focused, almost like, oh, I forgot to eat today. He's sort of distracted because all he can think about is his brother.
I was like, now that you're trying to find your brother and you're in this kind of depressed mode, I'm like, you should pitch to see if you can keep your beard. And so he did, and he's welcome.
How much of a challenge was it to get into Michael after all this time?
It was difficult. And it was, it wasn't just difficult because of playing a different character. The challenge was playing this different character in the environment that I've been playing Dean for the past 13 years. So I'm looking around, it's all the same faces. It's the camera guys, it's the sound guys, it's the electricians and the grips and the this and the that. And it's in the same sets designed by the same production designers. And, and so usually when I step onto that soundstage and I see all those faces, I instantly kind of get transformed into Dean. Because it's like hitting a button. It's like, okay, Dean mode. And to not do that, to not do that, and to B, do something completely kind of opposite of that, it was challenging. It was difficult, but it was one of those like challenges. It's like I gladly accepted it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this as a challenge, and I'm gonna work hard and hopefully succeed.
Are you missing baby?
Yes. I'm missing my flannel, and I'm missing baby.
We know that that Sam's and Mary and Bobby are out there hunting for Dean. Is Michael concerned about them catching up, or are they really far away from getting to him?
I don't think Michael's concerned about anybody.
For you as an actor, how much do you actually want to know, and how much do they actually tell you about Michael's plan so you can kind of play?
I didn't necessarily need to know about his plan. I just wanted to get more of a sense of how tonally they wanted him to be played. So I had a very brief conversation with Andrew, and he gave me a couple of very small notes, and basically was like, "Do what you do." And I'm like, "Oh, great, thanks, thanks for nothing." And yeah, I did it, and I actually, I did get a phone call from Bob after a couple of scenes were filmed, and he had a couple of tonal notes for me, which he said, he was like, it's kind of weird for me calling you and giving you notes on your performance. He's like, I normally don't have to do that ever. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I've been playing the same guy for 13 years. If I haven't figured that out by now, I think there's a problem. So it was kind of, it was like, no, it was nice. I was able to critique you from a different perspective, and Bob, I know that he's watching my back and making sure that that I'm not messing up. So that was good, and I'm happy that he still feels like he can call me and say, hey, listen, on this it was a little this, or maybe you need to add a little bit more here, or take away a little bit of this. I'm like, got it, cool, done. I don't know that there's a whole lot of people that would be on a show for this long and still take that kind of criticism, but I welcome it. So.
Sorry for your loss. You had quite the ending of the season.
Yeah.
How are you coping going forward with the loss of your brother?
I'm very proud of who Sam is this year. It's almost like his loss is accentuated even further and exacerbated by the fact that he also has 30 people living in the middle of his bunker that are from a different planet. And all these people want to kill Michael. Not necessarily want to save Dean, they want to kill Michael. Michael destroyed their world. And not that he's at odds with these guys, but he has to continue to guide these Apocalypse World hunters that are now living with him, and tell them how to use toilet paper. They're on a new planet, and they're living under his leadership. So Sam can't find his brother. He knows there's a ticking clock. Sam also knows, uniquely almost, that between Sam and Cass, there's some of the few people that have been possessed by an archangel and live to tell about it. And so Sam is trying to be as methodical as possible and as thoughtful as possible to find his brother and get him back safe and sound without just trying to destroy Michael and Michael's vessel, Dean.
Who does he lean on?
Sorry?
Who does Sam lean on?
He leans on Cass a little bit. He leans on Mom and Bobby a little bit, but not really. He hasn't really leaned on anybody yet. He accepts help from them as far as like hunting, like helping find Dean, but he hasn't yet really opened up. And also he's taking care of Jack, who's now human. And Sam last year took care of Jack and took a unique liking to him because he also was a bit of an outsider. He was different. But he also had a bit of fear with Jack last year because he didn't know. Like, the kid yells and blows me across the room kind of thing. So it was like a bit of trepidation. This year he's just a broken kid, human. He's 1 year old, So Sam doesn't have anyone to lean on just yet. He's not against it. He hadn't been able to take the time. He can't even shave. So
How does that?
I like it.
Last question. I'm so
Does
sorry.
Sam have a plan as far as are there breadcrumbs they can follow to find
Yes.
Michael? And is Dean any way breaking out and communicating back?
He's had no communication with Dean or Michael, but he certainly has leads and everybody, all hands on deck. You know what I mean? Apocalypse World Hunters and Bobby and Cass and Mary and Charlie and Katja, everybody, it's exploding dots. Okay, they have some leads, and they're following each and every one. And even if that lead is a dead end, it's still not a complete dead end. It'll be like, okay, well, we got to solve this problem. But he's certainly trying to find ways. But as of right now, nothing yet.
Is it completely bizarre for you not to be having scenes with Jensen right now?
I haven't filmed him yet. It's so wonderful.
For the worst.
It is.
More time off.
Huh?
You get more time off.
No, it's the opposite. It's all time on for me, and God knows what he's doing. No, it is, but it kind of helps because it's different for Jared to act as Sam without Dean than with Dean, but Sam is also in a different place, so it probably bleeds in. It's like acting well by accident, because it is different for Jared to get to work and there's no Jensen, and it is weird for Sam to be in the bunker and there's no Dean, so it's almost like he looks uncomfortable because he actually is, kind of thing. So it's I think it's life imitates art. It's going to be a nice little extra flavor, I suppose.
Sam's driving the Impala.
Sorry. I got it.
¿Cómo estás?
Oh, bien.
It's here. It's happening.
It's all happening.
It is
We are.
happening. It's
Hey.
happening.
Hi. Familiar faces.
That makes it a friendly table, right?
This is a friendly table.
It is.
Oh, right.
So you can tell us all. Yeah, go ahead. 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
That's
right.
That was fascinatingly not Dean.
Yeah.
And I sort of was watching the whole time trying to figure out why it was so not Dean. I don't know, it was the lack of emotionality or the lack of humor or sort of he has a slower way of speaking. It was strikingly different.
Yeah.
Was that hard?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was constantly having to go through checklists in my brain while I was performing. There was something where I was kind of trying to do with my eyes, where I was kind of keeping my eyes a little bigger and not blinking as much.
Yeah.
Slowing down the pace of the speech.
Yeah.
Not making it as colorful.
Yeah.
Making it a little bit more monotone. And then constantly telling myself, you are omnipotent, you are omniscient. You can do anything you want. You are the biggest, baddest archangel there is.
Dean is so anxious all the time as well. Like he's so like anxious, but like tense all the time. And Michael's just like don't care.
Right. Yeah. And the kind of cool swagger. I'm so like in my head while I'm performing, I'm also like constantly rifling through these thoughts of like stand tall but be cool. And I'm good. I'm glad at least some of that came across.
It's palpable.
Thank you.
You have that destiny aspect of Sam and Dean being born from Lucifer and Michael, and we've come together. You've already gone through that, and you've had so much trauma. Sam had so much trauma after that with Lucifer for so many years, which you finally got to verbalize in season 13. So how is that going to be for Sam and Dean, with Dean meeting his part of the destiny?
Yeah,
and what that was like in 13 to finally address that.
Those were awesome. I adore the Sam Lucifer. That's been oddly enough, that's been one of the greatest joys of doing the show. It's been exploring Sam and his devil, and I love the dynamic they have. I'm very protective of it. Dean, as we've seen in the past, this is a bit of assumptions, but he's not really the type to open up and go like, man, I want to talk about something that makes me sad. That's just not who he is. But Sam, wonderfully, is, like you touched on, sort of uniquely qualified to do it. So is Cass. So there's almost a big blessing of, I can see Sam and Dean saying, Sam and Cass saying, Dean, let's talk about this. We've almost been there, and Dean kind of wanted to move on because we still have a problem. Presumably, if Dean comes back and Michael's not gone, then Michael will still be somewhere. So yeah, we're not going to, Dean's not going to be the type to just sit down and try and hash it out.
Okay, well, what about Sam and Jack?
He's got to go.
I'll do this one. Their relationship. He feels for Jack. Jack has gone from being probably the most powerful being on the planet to one of the least. He's a 1-year-old, with the responsibilities of a grown man because he's a grown man. So he's in a very dangerous position where Jack has been able to go bang and kill 300 demons or whatever. Now he's a very lean human. He's been around for a year, but he's never been properly trained because he's never needed to. So Sam, I think, feels for him, knows he's a fish out of water, and also knows that he can be killed because he's graceless. And so Sam feels he's this huge responsibility. He's always felt a connection with Jack. And now that Jack really needs him, Jack's basically an infant. So Sam is really trying to make sure Jack's okay, or else not putting him in a position to get possibly killed, but still trying to find his brother. So, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Good day.
All right, we will.
How are you guys? Almost done?
It's pretty much you. Yeah.
We saved the best for last.
Making me blush. What's happening?
So, are we going to see Dean at all, or is it all Michael? Are we going to see you talking to yourself? And if so, do Misha offer to teach you an accent?
Well, judging from Misha's performance last year, I opted to not go with any accent this year. You're welcome. I didn't want to venture too far into doing something different. There are subtleties that I'm attempting to do different. Hopefully you'll pick up on those. I just had somebody down there say there was something different about him, and I was like, yes.
It was. And the Arabic was amazing.
That was hard. I'm not kidding. Like, I didn't want to mess that up. That was a verse from the Quran, so I didn't want to mess that up at all. And I had a coach there with me that day, and I essentially learned it right then and there.
Wow.
But it was, it's been challenging.
It's a slightly shorter season this year to give you guys a little more breathing room.
Yeah.
If it were possible, would you consider doing an even shorter season, something more like Cable, where it's 13 episodes? Is that something you might think might happen?
I would love that. Oh, that's just like heaven. Yeah, we could go for 30 more seasons if we do that. Yeah, we did talk about it. We did, and that was a big discussion with the network and the studio, mainly the network. They're the ones that need the content in order to sell it for programming and all that kind of stuff. And so there was that conversation of like how little can we go and still make it the story sustainable, but also monetarily makes sense for the studio. And 20 seemed to be the magic number, so that still gives them enough content to cover their bases. But yeah, I mean. Well, the thing with like the cable shows is they also spend a little bit more time filming their episodes. So we're done with 13 episodes by the holidays, whereas they might spend 6-7 months doing 13 episodes. So yeah, it's that 18 to 20 episode. We'll see. It might be awesome. It's gonna we're gonna be done a month earlier than normal. But I also think it's going to do something else with the writing. Is the 23 episodes? That's a long haul. It's a marathon, and everybody's got to pace themselves, including the writers, and they have to kind of make sure that they're spreading that story out and dishing it out in certain portions to sustain the whole length of the season. So now that it's a bit more of a concentrated season, I think the episodes and the storylines are going to be a little bit more intense and concentrated. So I'm hoping for the best on that part.
How jealous is Jensen that you get to keep hiatus and he has to shave?
Super jealous. But by the way, this is not my hiatus. Just to pat myself on the back a little bit. That's my hiatus.
Wow.
I'm very proud of it.
That's impressive.
So this was trimmed for Comic-Con.
No, it's trimmed for the show. Yeah, we started filming July 10th. So, but I had a full, which is great because I'm like, sweet, it grows. But it sucked because it grows in summer in Austin. So it's miserably hot. I started going, this may be TMI, but I started going like, it stinks. Oh, I have to shampoo my beard because it's long enough that I shampoo, not just use soap in it. So, yeah, he's very jealous. Hello.
Hello.
It's a fancy girl. Feeling really well. I finally rested, got everything taken care of that needed to get taken care of. So, I feel better now, but now I have to go back to work. So, yeah, no rest for the wicked. This is the best. I'm saying tonight I have to go back to work tomorrow, which is also fun work. You still have to set an alarm clock, so c'est la vie.
I'm in her line of sight between you and...
Yeah. I can move. I can bob and weave.
So Sam has to step up, be a bit of a leader. That's why he's no time to shave.
Yeah.
We saw that one of the scenes I really loved back with the Men of Letters was when Sam, steps up and was the one who led the charge. So we're developing that part of it. So what's that like to, really play that side of Sam?
I enjoy it. It's not something I'd say I desire. And I guess the only difference this year is obviously he's in charge because of a really shitty situation, Whereas last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was, I guess it was last year, he had to go like, okay, we got this, guys. Boot and rally. But now he finds himself, he is so distracted, he didn't have time to shave. And he's also missing his brother, right? And he has all these Apocalypse World hunters in the Men of Letters bunker. And so he's trying to tell them how to use a computer and flush the toilet and where the nearest, Diet Coke is or this and that. And still having to try and find his brother. So I think Sam is a great leader, but I think he is I don't want to say he's a slow leader. I think he's a better general than he is frontline guy. Like I think he's the one who sits back and thinks and goes like,
Strategist.
okay, yeah, trying to figure out the smartest way to do something as opposed to like, this is Sparta kind of, follow behind me as I punch everybody. Toga, which isn't bad. I love me a toga. Yeah, I think we're
Okay, that's the line.
I love me a toga.
I love me a toga.
Hey, I really am. Like I've never written or offered an idea, but I've been like, hey, 300, the 300, Sam and Dean and togas. Story tells itself.
So you're ready for all that baby oil action.
Hey, I'm wearing some right now. So it's part of my daily routine anyway, so I'll be quite all right. Yeah.
Is this something you get to do this season that you've been waiting to do?
It's a great question. I'm sure 300 is going to be something, and they weren't lying up there. I don't think they do know for sure what they're going to do for 300, but I'm sure episode 13, which will be 300, will be something wacky. It better be. If it's just some like, hey, there's a Wi-Fi monster in Arkansas, I'm be like, nope, I ain't doing it. Hire somebody else. So, but the writers never cease to impress me and make me laugh. So I'm sure it'll do something cool. Yeah.
How do you think Jack's relationship is going to change now with this new
Yeah. I think it's going to, if anything, intensify the sort of empathy and compassion Sam feels for Jack. He already shared the feeling of being an outsider, being a little different, being a little less than. But now that Jack has lost his undeniable powers and strength, there was probably a bit of fear last year. Sam legitimately cared about him, but there was probably a little bit of fear just because Jack was so, we didn't know what he was going to be, a powder keg or what. So this year, Sam doesn't fear him because he can't snap his fingers and send Sam and Dean up against a wall or yell and blow people away. So I think it's just more legitimate compassion and empathy, and I'm here for your buddy, and what can I do? To be Jack's Dean. You know what I mean? Or Dean is the same.
Is this a difference for Sam this time? In the past, when he's lost Dean, he's usually been on his own and been driven to desperate lengths. But this time, he has got people, his family around him.
Yeah, it is huge. And also, I think specifically, Sam, having been possessed by Lucifer, feels like, oh God, like I know how intense it is to be possessed by an archangel, and how much power it takes away, and how you really are just a bystander. So I think Sam feels a definite responsibility. He is around his mom. He is around, Apocalypse World Bobby. Thanks, brother. So, but I do feel, how do I put it? I'm not sure how to exactly quantify it. It certainly helps that he's got, even though it's not mom, it's not Bob, but they're close enough. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're close enough, and it's I don't know if misery loves company or whatever, but I think he appreciates. Sam works better as a team. Than as an individual. I think that's probably what I'm trying to say. It took me a while to find it.
At the end of the last season, we saw a little bit of a beaten down, defeated character. When we feel this season, are we going to get any address of mental health awareness and issues, because that's something that's so personal for you?
I think, I don't. I hope not. I hope not specifically, because I'm still, I love Sam. I'm here to play Sam, not to play Jared. I'm extremely blessed to have people that are aware of kind of what goes on behind the scenes and whatnot. But I feel like Supernatural kind of always has addressed that without calling it by that name. We've certainly seen these characters beaten down, and that's the way they sort of deal with it. I think we'll probably see, if and when we get Dean back, which I'm assuming and hoping we get Dean back, Sam trying to help Dean deal with PTSD or deal with whatever kind of issues he has. I don't think it's necessary. I think that's probably getting a little too meta to address it specifically by name. And I signed to play Sam, not to play Jared, But I'll keep on trying to, in my world outside of what happens between action and cut, still try and be there for those around me and try and be vocal about whatever I can be.
Almost done. Can you taste it?
Oh, come on, you're just a summer child who breezes in on the weekend and has a couple of cocktails. Some of us have been working.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I go straight back to work tomorrow, so I just asked the table over there. I was like, "Did you guys see the scene this morning?" I was like, "What'd you think? What'd you think?" And I haven't really needed to ask that question in years. So I'm like, "Oh man, I'm letting my actor insecurity show." So it's fun in that regard, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I did ask Andrew. I said, "Is this something that I'm going to be able to like sink my teeth into and get to play for a number of episodes?" And he's like, "We got to get Dean back." I'm like, "I get that." It's like, Dean's pretty crucial to the whole story, and you don't want to keep him gone for so long. And he's like, "But don't worry, I figured out a way to have both."
Whoa.
So I'll tease that. What's that? Possibly. Or what did the effect have on Dean, and how is that changing him? But even more so, there's another way that it's going to happen. Lots of flashbacks, yeah.
I love Argentina, and I have a very funny story. I went to Buenos Aires. Was that? Okay. 8 years ago for New Year's with my sister. We went to like Puerto Marina Glacier and kind of traveled around a little bit. And we went to go see Tango. And we get there, just because you were saying it's a big show in Argentina. This is 8 years ago. But we get there and we walk in and it's set up, stage is here, and we paid for like section B or whatever, which is behind section A, which is the most expensive. And here's Willem Dafoe, like right in front of us. We're like, badass. Like, I'm a big fan. Anyways, we sit down and they bring drinks and stuff like that. And then one of the hosts comes over and walks us and sits us right in front of Willem Dafoe. And I was like, this is really weird because I'm a big Willem Dafoe fan. And like, I guess she was a fan of Supernatural. And so she set us forward like in the place of honor. I'm like, this is kind of like, sorry, Willem. Can I call you Willem? I didn't talk to him, I was too nervous. But it was very funny. I love Argentina. Very, very grateful. I feel really blessed that the way the world is these days with Netflix and finding stuff on iTunes or whatever, you can watch it all over the world. So I'm flattered and grateful, and I can't wait to get back.
All right, you spoke to this already, the fact that you, as